All right, good afternoon. Welcome back to the Living a Purposeful Lifestyle show. I'm Jason Ricks, your host today, and hopefully every Wednesday, hopefully the powers that be don't fire me from my role here. But today we have a great guest. I'm super excited to have him with us to share with all you a new great innovation in the age restricted product space. I have for us today Joe Fethel. He's the Vice President of Sales and the COO of a new company called Smart Lock. Welcome to the show, Joe. Glad to have you today.
I'm very honored to be here with you today. Thank you very much.
All right. So, Joe, before we get into Smart Lock and all that good stuff, I always love to find out a little bit more and to help educate our listeners and our viewers on a little bit about you. So why don't you share with us a little bit more about yourself and tell us your story, all right?
Sure. So over the last 20 years, I've worked for my family out of New York. We have a lighter distribution company along with a cell phone accessory company. Over the last 5 years, I've been in the cell phone accessory company to where I've had been in charge of setting up routes for drivers and creating new accounts for them to go service. And within that time, I've witnessed a lot of improvements that probably could have been made in the convenience store industry, and one of them being theft. I've actually walked into a couple of situations, into a couple of my customers' stores where I've actually seen a beer theft or an underage purchase or even a sting operation, for that matter, with ABC, trying to catch convenience stores selling to minors. So one day I was actually I'll tell you a story. One day I was actually on my way home from Las Vegas back to California. And I remember that evening, it was kind of late. The sun was just starting to go down, and I stopped off in Victorville, California. And I went into one of my customers' stores. And as I was walking in, there were two men running out with 2 packs of beers or 12 packs in their arms. And the manager said to me, she said, Joe, I'm really having a hard time dealing with this situation. There's got to be an easy way to stop this. I believe this was about 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm kind of a problem solver kind of guy, and I like to fix things. So my mind immediately started thinking and racing. What would be the answer? How could we stop this type of problem? So immediately it came to my mind that if people had to scan their IDs at the source of the problem, that would probably eliminate a lot of the issues that these convenience stores are struggling with every day. And so that's how I came up with my product. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about my history and also what I've done over the past years regarding working with retail and also selling product to big box stores. So my family owns a lighter business back in Long Island, New York. And so what I've done, I've been selling to big box stores, retail stores, chain stores. I've been in charge of rep companies that have handled a lot of these accounts. I've overseen that for many years. And then we got into the cell phone accessory business, to where I was in charge of setting up new routes. I would go out and build a route and then hire a new person with a truck, and they would go out and supply these chain stores with the cell phone accessories, like the little plugs that you see on the countertop. I think we just in California alone, we got close to over 2,000 accounts. So I'm very familiar with the convenience store industry. So that's really kind of my story, my history on where I came from and what I've done. And
Now, when you talked about it, you first said that you were a lighter company, and then you started talking about the phone accessories. So I'm just curious. So did y'all start primarily doing like bigs and those type of lighters, and then you got into cell phone accessories? Or tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. So we had our own line that we brought in from China. They were the barbecue lighters, the long barbecue lighters, plus the clear little disposables. They weren't the big lighters, but they were our own brand. And I believe we started the company about 30 years ago. A family member, my father started selling lighters out of the trunk of his car in Florida. My cousin had actually came into an opportunity to start importing his own line, his own name, and before you know it, we had our own company, and we were probably doing anywhere from $10 to $20 million a year in sales. You may remember years ago there was a little lighter that looked like it was the shape of a beer bottle. Well, that
Yep.
beer bottle lighter had Budweiser, or had the name brands on it. So we were licensed by these companies to distribute their name on our product, and we were very successful in it. I've done some very unique items for some of the big box stores. I really don't want to mention them, but you kind of know who they are. And I've had the same account for 25 years. Same account for 25 years. And that's really unheard of. So I know that I must be doing something right when it comes to gaining the trust of a big box store to continue to do business with myself.
Yeah, that doing business in big box stores, everyone that invents a new product or comes out with a new line, that it's one of the first things they want to go to is, the big box, the Costco's, the Walmarts, the Targets, all these big, iconic companies. But there's a lot of stuff that happens kind of behind the scenes that, if not managed properly and done properly, you can really cause detriment to your business. So to have done that for 25 years speaks not only to the relationship you have, but also the ability to take that relationship and to be profitable and grow the business. So how did y'all transition, or what prompted the transition of, okay, we're selling lighters, dad sold some out of the back of the car, and you hear so many stories about companies, like Bezos starting Amazon in his garage, and so many great stories about companies that start in these wild ways where people just went for it. And so I'm very curious to hear how y'all went from, okay, we're selling lighters, to now, okay, we're going to go and do phone accessories. So how did that happen? Were you involved with that, or was that?
I was. So basically what it all boiled down to is the lighter business became very competitive. And then we started to have it's a lot of competition out there, and we couldn't survive on that. We went from doing 20 million in sales, I think, down to like 7 million in sales in a year. And we had like 40 employees and 30,000 square feet of building plus satellite offices, and I ran one of those offices in Santa Ana, California. So then, before I knew it, I was actually working in my office in a 10,000 square foot warehouse to my house, because we couldn't afford to keep those anymore. So we had to think outside of the box a little bit, and that's how we branched off into the cell phone accessory business, which is also very competitive as well. One good thing about the product that I've designed and developed here, I'm the only one that holds the patent, and I'm the only one that has the product in the United States. And it's a much overdue needed product. So one thing I find most comforting about myself and the way I do business is that I'm very honest. And I believe if you're honest, it'll take you a long way. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so successful with the big box store, is that they trust me, and I've never steered them wrong. We've always made good on any issues that may have come up. We've always done the right thing. So, and then I'm going to take that knowledge and that experience and move that over into my own company, my own business. And I know that we'll be successful. There's a great need for our product. People are asking about it. People that have known about it keep asking me if we're finished. One of the trials that we're running into, as everyone knows, over the past year has been COVID. You know, it's basically kind of slowed us down a lot in some areas, but a little bit in some areas. We have a lot of these companies that are our suppliers that do the metal casing or the brackets, that have had to close down 2 or 3 times this year. We really started about 2 years ago to develop the product. We got to a certain point and we had to stop, as you know, around March of last year. So that's kind of played a really big toll on myself trying to move forward to finish this product. And we finally have succeeded, and we're just about ready to go into our first test store in about 2 weeks in Palmdale, California. And they're very excited about it. So excited about it that they want to also help push the product.
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's a great first partner. And those early partners, when you're trying to innovate and to come up with new technology, is always so critical, right? Because you got to prove the concept, you got to work some bugs out, and just like anything, you can think of 100,000 things that you need to put in there, and it'll be the 3 things that, for whatever reason, never came up or that are just wild. That'll come up within the first few days. And at least in my experience, that has been the thing, is that you can have the best plans. It just never ceases to amaze me that you'll usually that first week there's 2 or 3 learnings that you're like, wow, why didn't I think about that? Right.
Exactly.
So,
but one of the great things, I was really, with my developers and my my hardware designers, I know that I really probably irritated them to the point to where they didn't want to do business with me. But I tried to think of every single little detail of what could go wrong, or what the product needed, or what the product needed to do. And also all the way down to installation. I've designed this thing to where people can install this themselves. It's kind of foolproof. If you follow the instructions, you're not going to have a problem. It's basically plug and play. You're ready to go probably within an hour, or depends on how quickly you can install it. So yeah, we actually have in 2 weeks, we have a company, Google Studios. They're going to come out and do an install video for the website. So we're going to make this thing so simple to install. We'll have written instructions and video instructions on the website. If you want to know how to do something, you can simply just go to the site and just follow those instructions, and you shouldn't have a problem. And if you do, you give us a call, we'll walk you right through it. It's very simple. The product will actually come with everything installed. All you have to do is install it, turn it on, and you're ready to do business. And that's the beauty of it. And that's one of the things that I strive on. I really want to make sure that it is as simple to install and to operate for the person that has that extra challenge on the people that just can't get it right away. You know what I mean?
awesome. So before we go any further, I've got a number of questions, but before we go that, I'm going to kind of zoom you in here. I want to give you a chance. So I want you to kind of tell us a little bit more about the product, kind of introduce the product, and really give us a good overview of how it works. Okay. So I'm going to let you go ahead and run with that. And I promise I've got plenty of questions, but before I get to those, maybe you'll answer a few of those through your demonstration. All right.
Sure. So basically, I don't have a working unit here. What I have is the shell of a unit that actually goes on the door. I don't really have any pictures to show you today. I wanted to demonstrate my product from our lab, but they were a little busy today, and we weren't able to show the product in action there on the cooler doors that we have set up in the warehouse. So the way the product's actually installed, it's very simple. This is the bracket that goes on the door. This attaches to the door next to the door handle. It could be a right or left-hand pull, and I'll explain these two channels in a few minutes regarding the right and left-hand pull. So on the back of the bracket, you'll find a very strong 3M tape. This 3M, you just peel back this 3M tape, and you'll line this up on the door. Once it's placed on the door, you don't have to worry about customers ripping it off, because you're not going to do it. They'll probably break the glass on the door before they even get this thing off the door, or they won't even take it off the door. So basically the way it works is you put this bracket on the door, and here's the wire housing for a right-hand pull. You'd stick it in the right-hand tube. This is the wire that actually, the housing that travels up the door, that houses the wires to the lock and to the power supply. And then at the very top of the door, you'll have this locking bracket that attaches at the top. It's adjustable, so you're able to adjust it to whatever your needs are, with the door frame at the top and the glass, so that they meet. And there's an actual solenoid lock that's mounted on this bracket and on this L bracket at the top, and they kind of meet together. So when the door opens, they come together, they close. They know that they're within range of each other, and they throw a deadbolt. There's over 2,000 pounds of holding force just alone with the lock and the bracket, not counting the holding force of the tape. So you'll also apply this this bottom bracket on the door by removing the tape. You put this on the door, and then you'll marry the two units together so that they become one. So after you've mounted the actual bracket on the door, you'll take the main unit, and on the back you'll see two switches or two plugins. One says lock, and the other one will say power. This is just the shell. This isn't the finished product, by the way. It's not fully it's not been fully put together with all the hardware in it. So anyways, what you'll do is you'll have these wires that will run down through the tubing. You'll plug it into the back. You'll attach this to the bracket that's on the window on the glass door. They have these dowels. They meet. They lock in place. You screw them down, and now this unit is actually attached to your door. This is the scanner. So if I had a finished product here with me, and I don't, this is a 5-inch LCD screen. You have the two push buttons here. One that actually scans the ID, confirms the ID, and unlocks the door. The other one here is a cancel button. Down below here, you actually have the scanning tray where the customer would walk up to the door, place their ID upside down with the barcode facing up, and it would do what it's supposed to do and scan the driver's license. And after they've completed the process, it'll actually verbally tell them to unlock the door, that the door's been unlocked. It'll not only tell the customer the door is unlocked, it'll also tell the clerk is unlocked, where that information is then sent back to the counter to a dedicated tablet that we supply for you.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing process. It only takes about 10 seconds to do it. It's well worth the wait. For basically, one of the reasons why we came up with this product was to take the liability and the risk away from the employees, and also from the store owners or chains, because I've seen so many things go wrong in my, over my years on visiting these stores. We just recently had an issue where a store owner and of a certain chain that I don't want to mention, but we had three kids had walked into this business and went back to the beer cooler, and they were able to access the beer, and they ran out with three 18 packs, and they were bottles. Well, the employee of that store who was one of the family members chased that person out in the parking lot, and they beat him over the head and knocked him out. He was in a coma for 2 weeks. We truly believe that our product is going to help deter those type of incidences from happening. The minute someone walks into a convenience store and they see an ID machine that collects the information from their driver's license, they're going to turn around and walk away and go somewhere else to commit that crime. And, we really truly believe that this is going to be a very big deterrent and to help those things, from not happening anymore in the industry. One of the other things that we're very adamant about is that the same process when you walk into a bar, you're carded. There shouldn't be. If you're underage, you're not getting in. For no reason at all should a minor be able to walk up to a cooler door in a convenience store and be able to even access that door. So,
right.
and this is one of the things I think that we've developed that's really going to keep those underage kids out of those cooler doors. One of the beauties of this product too is that if you try to use a fake ID, you're not going to get in. What it does is it actually goes through the process. It'll actually ask you to scan your ID, and but it won't let you confirm it. Once you try to confirm it, it denies access. And we've tried fake IDs from all over the state. I've had people send them to me, and we've tried scanning them, and not one of them has allowed the door to unlock. A couple of other things that the product will do. It has a banning feature. So let's say a person comes in and says, or they try to open the door with their ID. They're successful and they run out the door. So the clerk can actually hit the banning feature, not allowing that driver's license or ID card to ever unlock that door or any other doors in the convenience store again until that ban is released. Okay, you may have a situation to where John Jr. stole John Sr.'s driver's license in the middle of the night to go do a beer run, and John Sr. goes back the next day with his driver's license and says, why am I unable to get into this beer cooler door? And the clerk could look it up and say, well, sir, your license has been banned. And here's the picture. The product also takes the picture of the person that's opening the door, by the way. So it goes through a process. It lets the person know that they've been recognized. It also takes their picture and it sends that information back behind the counter along with that picture that was taken off the door. So if there's ever an issue with the driver's license to where a child or a teen has borrowed the parent's driver's license one night without them knowing it, and the parent goes back there to purchase beer and they're unable to get in, they can actually look at the history, see the driver's license name, number, and birth date, and look at the picture of the person that actually unlocked that door. So now we've just opened, and they can actually release that license and allow it to be used on that door again if they'd like to. So that's the banning feature. We also have a history log that saves anywhere from 10 to 10,000 swipes uses. So they're actually able to go back into the history if they want. And let's say you may have had a problem where a person did a beer run, and on the way out the door, they hurt someone. An employee chased them. There was a fight in the parking lot. Now they have that information in the system. Let's say they got in their car and they drove away, and they ran someone over on the way out of the parking lot. This product is actually going to help save lives. It's the bottom line. I remember reading about an incident that happened somewhere in the U.S. where a customer walked in, did a beer run, ran out to his car, and the employee chased him outside with a gun and shot him in the parking lot. Wow. Now the employee is going to jail, probably for the rest of his life, if not for many years. This whole thing could have been avoided if we took the time to have a product like this It's well overdue for the industry. There's also another benefit of actually having this product, before I forget and move on about the features, is that we're going to implement an advertising campaign. These products on all the doors are actually going to be able to run commercials. So let's say your local vendor has a special on an item in a store that you want to move or run a special on. Maybe it might be the beer. Buy a 12-pack and get one for 10% off. You're actually able to run that special on the store, notifying the clerk or notifying the customer that there's a special on that certain product. And what this is going to do is going to help create more advertising dollars that will be kicked back to the store owner, and they'll be able to eventually pay for their product over a period of time with those advertising dollars. So that's another great feature that we're going to have, over a period of time once we start moving with this product. So we actually have getting back into the features of this product. So we talked about the banding, we talked about the history logs. We have a master passcode setting, so that if a customer or if the manager of a store or the supervisor, they don't want their employees to have this master passcode, so that they're able to go in and change the settings on the doors. They can actually have the master passcode and set the system according to what their wants and needs are, without the threat of a bad employee actually going in there and changing the features and overriding the system. We have an age setting on the doors. Believe it or not, some of the age settings out there are 18 years old for the I believe the energy drinks. They don't really enforce that, but it's available if need be. But you can actually set the age on our system. We have a curfew setting. Every day of the week, there's actually a curfew setting on each door, the whole system actually. So it depends on what time. Some states you're not allowed to sell alcohol. I think Oregon, Utah, I think on Sundays they're not even allowed to sell it. I'm not sure, or within certain time frames. So you're actually able to eliminate those days of when those doors are allowed to be open. So out here in California, it's between 2 and 6 a.m. The doors are automatically set to lock during those times. There's a remote access feature. You can actually remotely unlock the door from anywhere in the store from the portable tablet that sits on the counter. It can also, if the passcode is accessible to someone, they can actually use their cell phone to unlock these doors from anywhere in the store. But as long as they have the passcode, and let's talk a little bit about that. The system can never be hacked. It's not online. It has its very own server within the store that it runs off of, and that server controls the settings and all of the door computers individually. So the system can never be hacked. And the only way that you can get into the system is if you have that passcode. It's a special passcode that you yourself set. It has a door jar setting. So let's say somebody scanned their ID and the door didn't shut all the way. Okay, in some of these stores that happens with the cooler doors. They're not perfect. They stick open once in a while. What it does is it keeps notifying the clerk behind the counter that the door's been left ajar, and it actually highlights that door number behind the counter and on the door. It says door ajar. It gives that notification, so that the clerk can be reminded to go back and shut that door for the next customer. So those are just some of the features that it has. It really helps to reduce the liability for those chain stores or the individual stores, to reduce the shrinkage. It helps to reduce access to the minors and to deter theft. These are just some of the main things that we really wanted to cover and accomplish with our product.
Yeah. So I have some questions. As it turns out, Carrie asked a question relating to loss of power and could lock someone in the cooler. I can answer this. Obviously, this is on the customer side, so that's going to be a no carry. Like they would be able to be locked in the cooler because it doesn't control the main cooler door in the back rooms or whatever where employees enter and exit. But power loss is a very interesting
Sure.
question. As far as if there's a loss of power, is that going to lock all the doors, or how does that work?
So no, actually, it has a backup battery system on it, just like your alarm system. But we all know also from my past experiences, once the power goes out in an area, I believe the convenience stores usually lock their doors so the customers can't come in and out anyways. But what our system does, it's on a fail-safe. So the minute the power goes out and the backup battery fails, all the doors will automatically unlock. All of them. Because the only way the locks work is if there's power to them. So the way our system works is that after you scan your ID, it's told to cut the power to that lock, and it actually releases that lock and unlocks it. So it works the same way. If the power goes out or the backup battery fails, the doors will automatically unlock. Plus, we have a main control box. If you unplug that main control box, all the doors will unlock automatically. Or you can actually unlock them individually, because in the control box is a power supply that shows what each door number is, and you just unplug the power cable to that particular door, and it'll unlock, no problem.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I have a couple questions. So you talked about the banning feature. Is there a way? So let's say you have, the convenience industry is more and more and more where it's consolidating and smaller chains are going away and growing it. They're getting gobbled up by bigger players. So let's say you have a chain of 100 stores, or like in our situation, we have 30 stores in one in one town. So if we've got, Joe the clown, and he hits one of my sites and he does a beer run and we ban him, is there a way to where we could get that information to all the stores so then that guy can't use that ID again at any of the other sites?
Actually, unfortunately, no. And the reason why is because we are not online with our system. And we do that for a reason, so the system can't be hacked. So that person that's a troublemaker in that one store would have to go to to one of your other stores. And it would have to be banned there as well. So
Okay.
yeah, we don't. Our product is not online for a reason, and that takes the liability away from of being hacked from the actual chain store or store, and also we don't want to be liable for anything like that, identity theft.
I understand. So then, I guess the next thing is you talked about if a fake ID will not allow them access. If they're utilizing a fake ID, does that notify or alert on that tablet up front, like, hey, someone's attempting to use a fake ID back there? Does that happen?
No, actually, what it does is just doesn't allow them access. So what it'll do is it'll say, please place your ID in the scanning tray. Please press the scanning tray. Verbally, it'll tell the customer this. Plus, there's written instructions on the door on how to on the process. But once they get to the confirm part, that's when the system will say, access denied. Please see clerk for assistance.
Okay.
So if they're not real bright, they decide to take that driver's license or ID card to the clerk's going to know whether or not if it's a fake ID. Sometimes they don't. They're actually pretty good, some of them, but they can tell. And normally what they do is they keep the ID, and the person trying to use that fake ID is on their way out. They just leave.
Right.
But it does not notify if it's a fake ID. It just won't read it. It won't allow access.
All right. And so what about expired IDs? So if I have an expired legit ID, but let's say my birthday is March 1st and I come in on the 5th and didn't realize that my ID expired, is it going to allow me access?
The only reason why, well, yes, it's going to allow you access. And the only thing that our product does is read the birth date.
Okay.
It doesn't, it's not hooked up to the DMV to tell the clerk if it's a valid driver's license. It's not our job to police people's driver's licenses. It's only our job to read their birthdays.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
All right, that answers the other question. So when you're looking at, are all the state IDs now kind of in the same format? Is that what's allowing y'all to do this, or are there any variations in that?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. So on the back of every driver's license, all of the states have this barcode. Okay, they're moving away from the magnetic strips. So what we've done, what our software does, is our software actually reads this barcode here, and they're in different positions on the driver's license. They're not all. This is a California. They're not all in the same area. So what our product is and the software is designed to do is once you put your driver's license into the scanning tray, the scanner inside our unit is actually designed to look for that barcode. So in answer to your question, yes, our system actually looks for what it's supposed to look for.
So so y'all have got some partners that are doing some the first beta testing for you out there. For those that are interested, this video will live in perpetuity. So the question is that for those that find this and say, man, this is a great idea, I'm really interested to know more, how soon will this be available from a mass point of view?
Well, it all really depends on what's going on in our world today. It's been a challenge. Like I said, we've had a lot of our suppliers shut down. If we have no further incidences, the way let me kind of talk a little bit about our process and our purchase process. So when we take an order, you need to allow anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks for delivery. And what we do is we would require a 50% deposit because these products are custom made. We don't stock them. We're also working with leasing companies to where these retail stores are able to actually lease the product if they'd like to. We're in the middle right now of putting together some deals and talking with some companies that are very interested in our product and would like to take on the lease option as well. We don't give out pricing without talking to a customer first, because obviously the more stores you have, the better, the more of a discount that you're going to get versus the onesies and twosies that are out there, because you have to factor in other things too as well. So I would say probably first come, first serve is basically how it works. If if 7-Eleven called me tomorrow, it's probably going to be a while, but the best thing to do is to get on the waiting list. And we have a minimum too with our suppliers. I have a minimum of 100 doors that I have to meet before I can place an order. Okay, that would be approximately 75 or about 25 stores, which is nothing. So basically, we have a minimum that we have to meet, and we don't collect a deposit from a customer until all of our minimum requests are accounted for. And then we go back and collect the deposits from the customer, build the product. Within 6 to 8 weeks, we deliver it.
Yeah. So, I want to just applaud you. I mean, I think you've come up with a great product and a great idea. I know you still got some challenges ahead, and obviously COVID is definitely not been your best friend in this process. But, I think that where your head's at and what you've come up with has a lot of promise. as someone who's been in this industry for 20 years, it's probably the best. It is the best solution I've seen that really starts to address, the dashes and things like that. And especially, for all you out there watching that maybe aren't in our space, I would say that, if you have one guy that's getting you 3 to 4 times a week for 3 or 4 24 packs, it's not going to take long for you to recoup whatever investment you made to get this product. So I think you've done really well, Joe. And
thank you. One thing we found a lot too, that we're getting a lot of acknowledgement from the law enforcement side of it, because what we're doing is we're taking the liability away. We're helping to take the liability away from the retail stores, the mom and pops. We're keeping people safe. We're helping to keep the employees safe, the customers safe. Because sometimes you get these customers out there that see a beer run happen in a store, and what do? They help chase after them. And now what we've done, we've taken that liability away from that store owner or the chain store from having to pay out, lost revenue from lawsuits that might come up. So, and plus we've had police officers don't like going to beer run calls. They just don't. No. And sometimes they won't even show up unless it's a felony, unless someone's been touched in the store or hurt on the property. Then they have to come out and do a report. And now they're looking for that person. So by installing this product, you're going to help reduce theft, shrinkage. You're going to create safety within the store, and you're going to stop the unnecessary 911 calls that may arise from them. So this is really a no-brainer, and this really should have been out a long time ago. I'm surprised it wasn't. I'm very lucky that it wasn't. I'm very fortunate and happy that I have the opportunity to introduce this product and make it reality.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you sharing with all of us your great new product and how we got here, why you created the product, and sharing a little bit about yourself. So, at the end of every show, I always like to try to give our entrepreneurs and our business leaders an opportunity to share, words of wisdom or encouragement to someone else that's perhaps, looking at their own journey. So talk to the listeners and offer up that sounding board of advice for what you think they can do to really follow and live a more purposeful lifestyle.
Sure. So one recommendation, I remember when I first started this project, I brought this up with a certain family member who he said, you'll never sell one of these. You'll never do anything with it. It'll never go anywhere. One thing I found in life is that you don't want to listen to other people. You always want to go with your gut instinct. If you have a good feeling about a product and it serves a purpose and it's a value to someone, believe in yourself and believe in the product and just go for it. Because if you don't do it, you'll never know. And one thing I told myself was, I'd hate to be laying on that hospital bed one day on my way out, wondering if I ever started and finished this product, where would I be today? Always believe in yourself, never fall back, always fall forward. That's one of my best sayings. And let me tell you who I get that from. I get that from Denzel Washington. Always fall forward. If you've ever seen that, if you haven't seen that video, I recommend that you watch it. Denzel Washington, always fall forward.
Yeah, Denzel Washington, that video, I have seen it. You shared that with me several months ago when you and I first met, and I do highly, highly recommend that. After we finish the show, I'll put it in the down in the comments if anybody wants to find it. I'll find the video and post it. But it is tremendous in his thought process on it. So, Joe,
I watch it every day.
I know you.
I watch it every day. Keeps me going.
That's awesome. And so, hey, Joe, it's been a real pleasure having you on the show today. I'm cheering you on, rooting for you. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. For all you at home, thanks for tuning in today and watching. I hope that you found this inspiring and that there was some learnings for you in one of the areas of our convenience store craziness that we hopefully now have a solution for. So, Joe, thanks again. And for all you watching, I appreciate you being here. We'll see you here same time next week on Wednesday at 3 p.m. for the Living a Purposeful Lifestyle. Until then, continue to live with passion and purpose and pursue your dreams. Love to all.
Good luck.